Hey guys, how you doing? Just wanted to make this quick video and cover off what's happening with Bitcoin right now because, we know we're having a big move that's going to be coming up soon. We've been going sideways for a long time now. We've been stuck inside this range around the 6,500, 6,600 level for a while. So we're obviously going to have a big move soon, and which direction we're not quite sure. So what's the best way to play it? All right, so let's just go in and zoom in a little bit on BTC here. So as you can see, we've just had a lot of dojis in a row. I think there's about 5 in total. So we just zoom in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is our 5th day of a possible doji incoming right now. So we're just on the daily chart right now, and we're sort of looking like it's about to dump and sell off to reset our momentum and come back down here for one more flush out and then go up. But the stochastics RSI is an oscillating indicator and it reacts to the price. So it's not a leading indicator. So it follows the price, not the other way around. But we can get a bit of a sense of direction based on which way the stochastics RSI is going. Though I do think any direction that this is willing to go in, this won't have too much bearing on. So I'm not taking it too much, but just to be aware. So we all know that Bitcoin has sort of been in this triangle formation, descending triangle. Some saying it's a compound fulcrum, because we've got this head and shoulders here, which is obviously left shoulder, the head, and then the right shoulder. So when you have a head and shoulders at the bottom of a long-term downtrend, which is what we've had over the last year. So we've had this long-term downtrend. So because we've had this long-term downtrend for pretty much the entire year, and now we're painting a head and shoulders pattern, that's typically a reversal pattern. It's called a compound fulcrum. Check out Peter Brandt. If you just do a quick Google search, you'll find some information in some of his blog posts, which are pretty helpful. And yeah, that should explain that, because typically head and shoulders is at the bottom of a range, and so we should see an inverse head and shoulders because it's a reversal pattern. So what can we do and how can we play this to make sure that we get a good result? So obviously something's coming soon, because if we take a look at Bitcoin right here on our Bollinger Bands, we can see that it's actually getting pretty tight. So this is a pretty close little range here on the Bollinger Bands. And so we can see that throughout the rest of this range on the Bollinger Bands, we haven't been this tight as what we are right now this year. And this is only going to get tighter and tighter over the next couple of days unless we see a breakout. So obviously this green box here, which was what we call our institutional order block, that's basically our range height that's holding us down. And we can see that's sort of come from this block just here. And we can see that we can't seem to escape the range from that block for a while now. TradingView's hating me at the moment, but we'll get there. So we haven't been able to escape from this block that sort of finishes at like 6,850, 6,900. So what we're sort of expecting is a break up from that eventually, hopefully quite soon, because just trading on our Bollinger Band indicator, we're pushing the top of this Bollinger Band squeeze while we're riding above the median, or what's called the baseline in the Bollinger Band range, right? So the median line in the middle of the Bollinger Band range, and we're pushing to the upside of that, is typically indicates that we're going to break to the upside, right? We've got a lot of bullish news and stuff like that at the moment. So my pick right now, because we have seen we've seen a low here, and then we've seen a higher low, and now we've seen another higher low, is that this is probably going to break to the upside. But we can't be sure. This could very easily break to the downside. It's probably 60-40 at the moment, I would say. Right, so we know that there's going to be a break one way or the other, and there's going to be big volatility soon. So let's go take a look at our volatility. We're actually hitting some of the lowest levels that we've ever seen on Bitcoin, and definitely not since early 2017. That's for sure. So we're hitting, heading towards all-time lows, and definitely we're well below yearly lows for Bitcoin volatility on the 7-day. And if we can go back here to the 24-hour volatility, it's hitting yearly lows as well. So definitely looking like we're going to see some volatility pick up soon, and range back up to this 6 area and above. especially I think coming into Q4. If we look here, we had a bit of a lower level volatility sort of period mid last year between July and September. We had a little bit of a pump in September, and that was about it. And then it was pretty low for this whole period throughout here. And then we started to really pick up, probably from back here, give it a little bit of love. Mid-November, November 13th, it really started to get going. And then obviously, we saw some really big pumps throughout December. All right, so we know there's going to be a big move one way or the other. So how can we play this to make sure that we profit on it? So there's a couple of things that we can do, right? We can flick over to our line graph and we can take a look at that. And we can wait for Bitcoin to break the trend and go up through this level here or down through this level here, right? So if we go back to our chart, and we'll just get rid of the Bollinger Bands because it makes it a little bit messy. Right, so what we can do is we can either sit back and we can just wait now, and we can wait for these dojis to stop going sideways and choose a direction, either up or down. And we're going to break through this smaller triangle pattern that we're in, and then break through the longer term macro trend that we're in to the upside or to the downside. Because we're either going to break through 5.8K, or we're going to be breaking above this 7K region, right? And breaking through the top of the triangle, which would invalidate the descending triangle, or we're going to break down through under 5.8 and basically capitulate a lot further. And then we could easily see something like go down to 4K or something like that, and then swing back higher afterwards. So, if that did happen, we need to be aware that the levels coming through there are going to be something like, into my favorites bar. Let's get that guy back. Here it is. All right, so we're going to see something like probably a bounce off around here, I would say. That 4.6 or that 5K sort of level, so probably get some love there. And if it doesn't bounce from there, it'll probably come down to this 3K level, just because those are two strong horizontal support and resistance. And if we put a Fibonacci level on there as well, they line up perfectly. I'll show you just quickly. Our Fibonacci tool. We'll throw this guy on here. Right, and it lines up almost perfectly, those two lines. In fact, the 88.3 does line up perfectly with that 3K level and the 0.786, which are typical market cycle reset levels. So this could easily break to the downside here, get denied in our descending triangle again, and then we have to go again. Just fix this guy up. This is not quite on. So yeah, basically from here, we'll be looking for either a break to the downside, and we'll be looking at targets for these two levels here. So the 5K, obviously, and the 3K level. If we break to the upside and we break above this 7.5 level here, that will be very exciting and possibly be indicative of a new bull run, and we'll go in this big swinging sort of pattern. And throughout 2019 towards 2020, we'll be looking to make a new all-time high. So we'll be looking to break through this higher high here, and we can look for that confirmation pattern on our line chart. So this is our the line chart, which we use to pick up swing trades on the 3-day, and we're looking here for our higher lows and our higher highs. So obviously we've been making higher lows. Sorry, we've been making lower highs the entire way down, and now we're starting to make higher lows here from the bottom since, the middle of the year, probably end of June, right? We made that low here at 5.8K, and we came down pretty close, and we came down pretty close again. So we've been making higher lows, right? So it could be indicative of a trend change. So if we make this line cut through here, right? And we can see what is happening. All right, and so now we're trending up through here. So I really like the line graph because it just cuts out all the bullshit, all the fluff, especially on the 3-day, and you can really see where the swing highs and swing lows are. And you know, this is sort of a little strategy that I can take you guys through in the program, the leverage trading program, and it's one of the modules, module 7. And it just teaches how to swing trade using this indicator, and it gives it basically gives us an indicator of a change in the trend, right? So the green lines are basically long indicators and the red lines are short indicators. So as we can see, we've got a short indicator here and we crashed down, and now we've broken back up and we're making higher highs on the smaller time frames here. So make higher high here. Now if we get above here and we break, oh, we've got Doge crossing stochastics RSI, so it's probably ready for a reset. So if we break through the top of this trend, if we break through here and we break through the trend line and a higher high and we get above 7.3K, I would be very excited, and that would be a very strong indicator for a long entry for a big run up, you know, possibly to either this level here, 10K, and possibly 12K in the very near future. We know it can be aggressive when it finally gets going, so you know, it's not out of reach, you know, by December. I don't think so, if we can break to the upside here. So what we can do is we can place what we call a box spread sometimes when we're doing options trading, right? So I can take an entry here right now. If I don't want to wait for a decision for it to either go up or down, I can enter a long and a short here at the same time. I could either do something a little tricky like short Ethereum, right? So then if I short Ethereum, I'm going to be getting paid out funding from BitMEX as well. So if I'm holding Ethereum in a short for a long time, it's going to pay me out for a while, which will be pretty handy. But basically, we'll be looking for this to break up here most likely, I think. So I'm going to play this to the long side. So I want to be basically shorting either Bitcoin and Ethereum on futures, and I'll be longing Bitcoin with my main position. So just say I might do a 2 or 3 Bitcoin long, and I might do 50% of that position. So let's just say I do 3 Bitcoin long, I might do 25 or 50%. So I might do a 1 Bitcoin short, and I might do a 1.5 Bitcoin short, depending on how I want to hedge my bet, right? Because if we break down through here, we break down to make a higher low, that's going to stop out my long, and then that will leave my short in profit. Now, if I leave my short up here, what will happen is my short will get stopped out, and my long will be making the profit, and I'll make back the loss on the short. So it means that I'm going to profit either way the market breaks. Now you want to make sure when you do this that you're doing it and the stop loss is outside of the range where it can just bounce and come back in, because you don't want to get stopped. You lose, you get stopped, and then it comes back down, back into the range, and then goes in the other direction. So you want to make sure that if you do trade in a box spread position, that we might do 2 entries at the price of 6,500, and then I might have my short stop here, and I might have my long stop down here, right? So once we break through and make the new lower low, right? So once we break through and make a new lower low underneath here, or once we break through and make a new higher high here, it's going to stop us out of the trade, and then the actual main position is going to continue and stay in there. So it's going to cover our, if we crash down, our long is going to be covered by our short, because the short will go into profit, and then eventually we'll get up. And if we go up, and we might lose a little bit on, but we'll be making more, because remember, our long position is twice as the size of being 3 Bitcoin of a bet, and our short position is only 50% or 25% of that. So that should cover you off either way you go, and it's ensured that you're going to get profit out of this move whichever way it decides to go, because we know it can get super aggressive when it gets moving. So that's basically trading with the box spread, and a little bit of insight on what's coming up in Bitcoin in the next few days. I do expect this week we're going to see a break in either up or down, and a break in this trend. And you know, are we going to see a run for Q4? I'm bullish right now, but I am also trying to remove my bias, and I will just wait to see what the market gives us. And if we break up through here, I'm going to long very heavily and move a lot of my money in USDT back into Bitcoin. And if we crash down here, I'm just going to keep profiting off shorts. So that's my play, and I'll see you guys all soon in the next video.